Well, this is definitely the last series in this series about a series, my dad's series. So before we get into the detail, check you're subscribed. If you're not, why not? If you want to contact me, Church House Classics, and that's all one word, at gmail.com. And if you fancy supporting the channel, or just buying me a pint, then there's a PayPal me link thing scrolling down here. Both of those links are in the description below this feature. Enjoy it. Right, so I was chuntering away to myself last night, irritated because I couldn't get this thing started, and I want to put that there, and until that starts, I can't do that. And then I was thinking, I've got a 2 1/4 petrol engine underneath the bench. I wonder if it's got a starter on it. Well, I'll tell you what, it damn well has. Cleaned it up, checked it over, all appears to be working. Let's see if we start. Now, I have just recharged this battery. Let me just take this lot off, because the battery was getting a bit on the low side, what with all of the cranking over and everything. If this starts, we can have a massive move around. Now, got that go on there. Let's see if we go. Oh my goodness. Oh. And it starts. I'll tell you what's more, the clutch works too. Right, let me get myself organised to move this around then, because I'll get this done now. That's quite sweet, all these things. Keys. Oh, I can't get in or out with the roof up, but I can get in. You thought the NGB was too small for me. Right. Keys. Ignition on and choke right. I've got a big old pair of boots on. Really doesn't make life easy. Right, let's see if we can get this to move. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Oh. That. It's just not going to run. But it moves. Hey, it moves. I think what's happened here is the rod's bent. Should be fairly easy to straighten that out. Which I just have. That's all there, that's all there. Right, let's give that another go. Now, I'm probably more or less at the point where I can start bringing that around. A lot of this shit's going to be in the way though. We'll see. We will see. Got this back in, you can see the struggles I have getting in here. It's easy getting in than it's getting out, I tell you. Woo! Right. That clutch. Right, hand is in. Stag next. Stag keys. And citron. And then we've got this thing now a lot more organised, because the battle plan is to get this finished pronto. Fed up with looking at it, and as you can see, it drives and it stops, doesn't change gear particularly well, and the brakes probably all need adjusting. But apart from that, no, it's all going beautifully. But it's difficult to adjust the brakes until you've moved it forwards a couple of feet and backwards a couple of feet. It's drum brakes all round. Right, hot now, hot day. Looking at the clutch issue here, which means that it crunches in first and reverse, is a very, very, very slight dragging clutch situation. It's really tight. It's very, very, very tight. Now, I've been faffing around, which is why the clutch pedal has been lowered greatly. And the reason I've been faffing around is, look at the pivot. I am gonna say that's fucked. I didn't actually notice that the first time round. I suspect what's happened here is the hole on the pedal is greatly elongated on both sides. I hadn't taken it apart. I probably could actually take it apart. Looks like we take the bolt out there and I undo the pivot nut there, and I should be able to drop the entire pedal down and then let's see what's going on with it, because that's not helpful, is it really? In other news, I've popped the number plate back on the front. Oh yes. And you'll notice correct use of the pressed aluminium, silver and black plates. This is not a 2004 BMW. No, this is a 1960s Land Rover. These aren't even right for 1970s stuff. They were replaced, and no one in their right mind would have had these on a 1970s car if they could have put the white and embers on. So there you go, rant over. You put what number plates you like on your car, your choice. I've fixed the front panel on, done that, and I've also replaced the rear lights. There's only one light on the back that needed doing. So that's all pretty good actually. That's all good. Thing absolutely starts on the button now. Right, battery's connected. Ain't a lot wrong with that, is there? No. It is running a bit rich though, but then the choke was out, and then my carbon monoxide meter will go berserk in a moment, so I'm going to stop videoing before that does. Aha! Right, torqued up all of the spring shackles, torqued up the hub nuts, the drive plates, lubed up the axle, all the way around, and you'll notice that there's water dripping off the wheels, and there's a reason for that, is I've been round the block. Round the block on the estate here, so we've not been out on the public roads, folks, because we haven't got an MOT yet. But the main objective of that was to see if the brakes were actually performing. The only slight issue I've got is that hub is slightly warmer, so I'm going to back the brakes off half a click. Sorry, a click, I should say. I'll then take it again. Everything else is behaving exactly as I would expect it to. There's only a couple of minor issues. First and foremost, when I slammed on the brakes, well, yeah, they were good enough for everything to slide off the seats and onto the floor, which was good. shows that we have actually got some reasonable effort on the brakes here, doesn't it? So I'll tidy that lot up in a minute. And what was the other issue? There wasn't another issue. It wasn't. It goes all right. Oh, sorry, the other issue. The high lever. I couldn't get the high lever into gear. It's gone in now, but it was a real crunch to get it in. I had to get it into neutral, engine off, and then wiggled the lever around, and eventually it went into high. And now, probably finding it to fucking come out now. So that's my brain's not working. Into low. Sorry, high. That's low. There, and you can feel it sort of goes to about there, and then there we are, and then it's gone in. And you can see where it's been rattling against the panel there. So it's obviously a bit on the tight side, but it's in high range now, which is good. Now I need to tidy all this mess up in here. Silly arse. But yeah, it goes around the block. It's fine. This door shuts beautifully now. So I've replaced the hinge pins. I think either the pin or the ball was worn out. Second thing I did was loosen these 4 bolts here, open and close the door a couple of times, nip up 1 bolt on each hinge, and then I just pulled the striker block. It can go in and out very, very slightly, but not a lot. And it's got 2. Right, happy enough with that. That's fine. It is an old Land Rover, it's what they do. Now, usually on these, you would get, this one's tight, I need to sort that out. Usually we get a handle that sits underneath here. But my dad's 80, so what I'm actually going to do is replicate what I had on that door over there. That was a Morris Minor leather door pull, but it broke off eventually. Probably because the door was so bloody difficult to open and close. But that's no longer the case. That's no longer the case. It is easy to open and close now. So, on that basis, I'm going to put another one of these leather straps up here. You can see where it's just rotted through and fallen off. The other type of strap you can put on is a VW Type 2 van, bus, whatever you want to call it. They've got like a handle, grab handle, which would also fit up here. Because the metal handle that goes underneath there, it's kind of like, you know, if you've got sausage fingers, you're not going to get them in there. I know all about that. Right, clearing up time. I'm going to get this in for an MOT. So, when it comes to MOT, I think all I really need to do here is sort the washer bottle out, because it's not connected to anything at the moment. Just check all the lights over, and I think we're there. Let's get it in for an MOT. Let's book it in. Let's see what happens. Cooling system was pressurising because the hose was hard, but it's softened off a bit now, and I remind myself I have just got plain water in there, so I need to write on a sheet of paper or something, needs antifreeze. But other than that, yeah, I'm pleased. Good effort. We have kind of got to the end, because Dad's got a car show he wants to go to in a couple of weeks. I want to get this back down to where he is. I'll need to paint the wing. I might run it up to Steve the Body and see if Steve can dust in the wing over the weekend, because he's going to have a lot easier job doing that than I'm going to have doing it. And I don't want the whole fucking thing painting. I just want up to this edge and around. It wants priming and painting. It probably would want doing front to back, otherwise it's going to end up sticking out a little bit. But it's a satin finish, exactly the same as that, and I've got 1.5 litres of it. So, and you could do this one as well. In fact, what we might do, because the door is a very slightly different colour. No, we're not going to fuck around with that. It needs different coloured doors, and I need to sort out this as well, because this is not easy to open and close, and I suspect the catch needs to come out a tiny bit. And again, new pins in here too. Got them off eBay. I don't normally buy stuff off eBay, but it was just the easiest way to buy them from a reputable source. Yeah, I think it's been a productive afternoon. And Phil popped over earlier on with some beers for me. Thanks, Phil. They're in here somewhere. They're down there. Because of course the car's absolutely full of stuff, and when I slammed on the brakes everything slid forwards. What a bird brain. It happens to the best of us folks, I'm afraid. I'll have to ask Dad if he still wants these seats in the back, because we probably need to find a better way of mounting them than that, because that's not very good, is it? Might have to take these out. He might not like that for the MOT. We'll see, because they are Defender 90 rear seats, not designed for the series. Right, tidy up. And then, because the car's such an ungrateful bastard, I put in the check strap, and then I was looking at all this thinking I could just brush paint a bit, treat the rust, brush paint a bit over there. Might even change these seals for the edge seals like I've done on the other side. Like I've done here, in fact. Look at that. Edge seal. Yeah. Works a little bit easier than the original seals. And I went to go and slam the door, and a fucking spring flew out across the garage floor, and the handle's broken. What the fuck? I don't think I've got another handle. So now, the door don't shut. And also this seal's all a bit fucked up here anyway, so I might end up changing that seal anyway. So this, right up until that point, has been working beautifully. And it chose this moment, this very second. I'll put that there, so when I start shouting about where that spring's gone later on, it's in front of the radiator. You ungrateful bastard. Right, so I need to find some more of this shite, really, don't I? And I probably won't run it down the edge of the windscreen, because that all seems quite good there, but all of this stuff down here is just a shambles. I'll show you what it looks like on the other side. Well, the seal fits better, as you can see, and that's why it fits better. It's a completely different type of seal to the standard seal. And look, I've run it all the way up to the top there, and all the way around. So I don't know if I've got any of this kicking around. Side seal. The one at the bottom is standard. I think none of that is really preventing me from getting an MOT. However, this door not closing is. So let's get this door off and get this handle off and work out what on earth happened there. Because that's crazy. Right, so that's where the spring should go. Goes in there. And it should then force this catch out, so when you open the door, it pulls it back, but then springs back under its own load. Then there's a couple of locating pins. There's one there, and there's a pivot there. Right, so we've got all those bits. What we don't have is the big lump of metal on the end there, which is actually just snapped off. So I don't know where that went. You look at this one. There's a big old flat piece of metal there, with 2 holes in it, which is part of the catch, and that catch is looking new anyway, so I suspect that what we're going to need to do here is just replace the bloody catch. It's that bit that needs replacing, but I suspect that it's all getting on for 60 years old and has probably really had enough. So that then would explain why the spring shot out, because the spring gone, there's nothing holding the spring in anymore. We might be able to fix it, but by the time I've fixed it, I might as well I'll see what I can do. We need a door, chaps. Oh, these are quite sweet. Got them off eBay. They weren't expensive. Half the price for a pair of a single brand new unit. Bollocks to that. I shall have the used old stock units. I know they're blue. I know the car's green. Doesn't matter. Now, I thought I'd get on and fix this. Because they are available new, but where's the fun in that? So what I've basically done is fashioned myself a lump of steel, which I've kind of roughly cut to size, held it in place with one of my very strong magnets. I'll put a tack up here and a tack there, and then I'll take the magnet off, because the magnet, it will bugger the welding up. So once I've got it tacked roughly into place, then I can take the magnet out and finish off the welding. Just seam across the top, seam across the side, grind it flat, which should be good, and then I just need to trim it back. Right, that's kind of roughly welded that into place. It's alright, I'll give it a lick of paint and it can go back on again. Oh yes. Back together. It might just work. It might just work. I don't know, about 15 minutes work. Saved me a load of aggravation, doesn't it? That's some old tape on there from when my Uncle Ian had it painted. Well, that's all kicking off. Right, let's pop it back in again. Well, this is it. It's all back together again. Steve, the body, just lobbed some paint on the wings for me just to make it look a bit more presentable. He's actually, see, I chose a satin paint on this, and you can see the reflection in the satin paint is pretty much exactly the same as the paint that's on the door, so that wasn't a bad effort, was it really? Not the greatest match in the universe, but to be honest, it's all about kind of a working vehicle. It looks all right. I'm quite pleased with it. I think it is all now in one piece. Looking good. Lobbed it in for an MOT. Of course it passed. Sailed through, in fact. So really, it's on its way back down to see my dad now. He's going to a car show in very near where he lives in Langford this weekend. Or when I say this weekend, I could be releasing this video about 3 months' time. So, he's going to a car show in the middle of October 2024. And Dad wanted it back so he could display his A suffix Range Rover and this side by side. Yeah, it's been good fun. I can be pleased to see it gone though. I'm not being funny. I'll be pleased to see the back of this one. Now, interestingly, of the original failure. So let's just rattle through the original failure sheet because it's never a dull moment. So, original failure. Brake imbalanced across axle by more than 50%. Well, that's because the brakes weren't even working on one side. Parking brake efficiency, less than 50% of that required. Now, I've done nothing with the parking brake. I haven't touched it. And I spoke to Mark, and I said, parking brake? He said, well, yeah, when you pull it on, it locks. You can't drive the car. It locks solid. He didn't seem to think that it needed any more than it's actually got at the moment. And if you remember, I had actually adjusted this thing a little while ago. Now, it will take more than 3 clicks to pull it. But it's not shuts nicely, it's not a car, it's a Land Rover. So I think that's what they meant with that. Windscreen washer not working. Well, Dad, you didn't put any washer fluid in. Near side front position lamp not working. Offside front position lamp not working. Offside headlamp aimed too low. Rear brake hose ferrule excessively corroded. Rear brake pipe likely to become detached or damaged. Offside lower front shock absorber has excessively warm bush. Offside front steering system fouling. I couldn't find the fouling. The other thing were legitimate faults. I could not find the fouling steering. I don't know what they meant by it. Can't see any way that it would have been fouling. Steering box has excessive free play detected at the steering wheel. Steering box fitted. Guess what I didn't adjust in any way whatsoever? Guess what I have not touched? The steering box. I checked with my MOT test centre. Said, so steering box, excessive play. He says, there's barely any play in it. For a Land Rover, it's a good one. Parking brake lever mentioned a second time round. Has excessive movement, indicating incorrect adjustment. I've not touched it. It is absolutely spot on for a Land Rover. Offside front leaf spring seriously weakened. It wasn't really though, but they were tired. Near side front leaf spring anchor bracket corroded and seriously weakened. It was corroded, it wasn't seriously weakened. Offside front leaf spring seriously weakened. Near side rear leaf spring wanker. There you go. Offside rear leaf spring anchor seriously weakened. And then we've got monitor. Near side front up oil seal leaking dangerous, which is a monitor and repair if necessary. These are advisories. There was no brakes on that corner at all. Such was the saturation of oil coming out of the hub. Both front swivel seals leaking badly. They do that, sir. When they stop leaking, you top them up. Rear prop shaft joint worn, but not excessively. Near side front brake hose has slight corrosion to ferrule. I'll tell you what, near side front brake hose was nearly cut in half. Offside front brake hose has slight corrosion to ferrule. Yeah. Near side front brake hose slightly deteriorated. Yeah, it was nearly cut in half. Offside front brake hose slightly deteriorated. Odd front springs fitted. I'll tell you what, pal, they're supposed to be odd. Near side and both rear springs corroded and eroded. So what we've effectively got here is about 3 different faults. To stretch it out into a whole pager MOT fail. And yes, and they didn't pick up on a couple of faults with the car that actually were dangerous, which I've been through and repaired in the series. So it was a whole load of old guff, to be quite honest. And as would be predicted, when Dad went back to go and get the car, there was, of course, the conversation, well, what are you planning on doing with it? One of the lads will give you some cash for it, which, again, was way below the market value, even without an MOT and needing work. So, yeah, not exactly a scam, but I'm not very impressed with the way they dealt with my dad on this one. He should never have taken it to that particular garage. Now, having gone through, of course, it got a clean sheet as well. The only things that I did have to sort out while it was in for an MOT, and bearing in mind, I just lobbed these headlight bowls in. I lobbed these in. This light here, I had to bring down by half a turn for it to be absolutely perfect. Do you remember this? This was all folded back in again. So I just lobbed that in, and it kind of like was roughly in the right sort of place. And the other thing was, he put it on the brake rollers and said that we had good braking action across the axles. He just felt that the back brakes were a tiny bit too tight. So I backed those off half a turn each on the adjusters, and it push. I can push it. I can move it around. So there we go. Dunny McDumface. I'm going to have to put a Church House Classic sticker on the back window, I think. They need to go up here, I think. Like that. That looks nice, doesn't it? Look at that. Ah, yes. Just in case. Could put it on straight, Richard, couldn't you? Daub. Right. Get this back to me dad. It's being picked up tomorrow, and it's on its way back. Fabulous. It's been fun having you here, old chap. Time to go.